Have you ever been playing a game and you're thinking to yourself, man, I just want to get to it already. I don't want to be walking about, talking to people, getting tutorials thrown at me. I don't want to be watching cutscenes. I want to be to the point of the game where I'm playing it and I can figure out whether or not I like it or not. I feel like a lot of games I've played recently take a long time to get to this point. It takes a long time for the game to just start. In order to take a look at this and see what I'm talking about, I wanted to look at two similar games that have very different approaches to getting the player started. And that is the recent Game Pass edition, Nine Souls, which is how I found it on the Game Pass. It was great because I was kind of interested in it already and I was seeing if I should buy it on PC, but then it got released on Game Pass and I was like, great, let's do it. And I'll be comparing it to a game it is often compared to a lot already, which is Hollow Knight, the 2018 smash hit Metroidvania. Now, these two games have a lot of similarities, and I can see why they are compared to one another, but they are their own games, and they're different in a lot of ways. But, some core elements of the two do interlink. They both have this beautiful hand-drawn art style, and they both are these side-scrolling Metroidvanias, very challenging Metroidvanias with Souls-like elements. You die, enemies respawn, you're building up currency as you kill enemies, and that is used to basically level up and make your character stronger. To compare the beginning of these two games, I'm going to be showing how the gameplay is distributed within the first 25 or so minutes of gameplay. And so I've broken down those first 25 minutes into 4 categories, which we're about to see on these 2 pie charts. And then below that, you can see there's like these timelines. Colors correspond between the two. The timelines are showing when each type of gameplay is happening. The pie charts above are more just the total aggregate of each type of gameplay within it, broken down by percentage as well. We have yellow for cutscenes. We all know what a cutscene is. We've all experienced it. I will say that Nine Souls has some cutscenes that have some kind of interactive elements. I still count them as cutscenes because you're not really in control of anything other than picking some dialogue options. They all seem to be pretty straightforward. At least you're giving a little bit of agency during these cutscenes. You also have Walking Simulator, which is in red. A lot of games will have these sections where you're not really able to do anything except maybe interact with some objects or talk to some people. You're still in control of your character, but you're not really in full gameplay mode. You're kind of in this limited section of the game. And so these are the Walking Simulator sections. You may see here, Hollow Knight doesn't have any. No walking sim in there. Nine Souls has got some. The third type of gameplay is tutorial gameplay. This is when the game's teaching you how to play it, whether it be an extended kind of platforming section to show you the ropes of platforming, or whether it be the first combat encounter where they kind of walk you through it and show you what you're doing. And then finally, our fourth type is core gameplay. This is when we finally get to the meat of the game. This is when we're in the game, we're playing it. I can really get a sense of how this game feels, how this game plays, and start really to make my mind up on whether or not I'm into it or not. Hollow Knight just kind of starts. It's one of the strengths of the game. You get a brief cutscene, you're thrown into a brief platforming section of the game that kind of shows you the ropes of platforming, how to heal, how to use your weapon. You can read some of these big stone tablets that'll give you some more information on how to control the game. It's very straightforward. It just dumps you into it. You walk from the tutorial kind of area into the first town, talk to this guy. He's pretty cool. He's like, wop, wop, wop. You rest on a bench. This shows you, hey, this is where you rest. This is where your enemies get reset. This is where you get your health. And then you descend right after this into the Hollow Nest, and you're in the game. This is the game. It's great because when you get to the gameplay, you don't feel like you've sunken a lot of time into the game and you have to push through it even if you don't like it, which can happen with some games where you kind of get to the meat of the game and you're like, man, I don't really like this, but I've already played it for like 2 hours. I already have achievements in it or whatever. I might as well keep pushing. This game, you're in it and you're good to go. Let's compare to Nine Souls. Nine Souls starts with a cutscene as well. You get this beautiful cutscene of your Catman getting killed basically and thrown off a cliff, taken by some weird tentacles, and then eventually rescued by this kid. You have to talk to this kid a little bit. He says he saved you. You guys are friends. He's learned some stuff from you. You're kind of a mysterious Catman with a flute. Again, all this goes on for about 2.5 minutes. So not crazy long or anything. You're then put into the first kind of tutorial platforming section, similar to Hollow Knight. You then meet up with your kid friend again, and he has another long conversation with you about some rose, about how he really wants it. You see a boar with a rose, so you go, hey man, I'm gonna go up there, grab that rose for you. It's gonna be great. And so you do some more platforming. This is kind of the next tutorial section you see in purple there. You learn a bit more about the more complicated aspects of the platforming where you're kind of shooting through these like, it's kind of like a grapple kind of thing you do. And you encounter your first enemies and you start attacking them. Great, we're learning how to fight. Now I remember when I was looking at this game, it's a lot of people commented that it's a very parry heavy game, which is not a type of gameplay I love, but in this first combat encounter, that's not part of it at all. There's no parrying. I'm just hacking stuff with my sword. I'm having a great time. I love it. I find the boar, I get the rose, go back to my kid friend, and I guess it's not a rose, it's a hibiscus, but flower, rose, whatever. We get back to the kid, give him the hibiscus, he's pumped. Great. We then put on this cool hat and wander back into town where we have the first walking simulator section. This section goes on for a little bit of time where we kind of can walk through the town and talk to whoever we want to. They have some interesting stuff to say about upcoming ceremonies, festivals. There's a big like ceremony happening that everyone's kind of pumped for. The game's beautiful again. Like this area of the game is so pretty. It's such a great style. After this walking simulator section, we're about 10 minutes into the game and we get another cutscene. It's a nice little conversation with your kid friend. You play like a flute form, or you use some kind of magic electro skill you have to project this beautiful image for him, and that part's kind of nice. It does start to suggest that your character's not all they're saying to be. They have some kind of tech power in this weird, analog world that you seem to be in. There is some kind of digital technology that you're in tune with. After this pretty long cutscene, you get to another walking simulator section where you proceed through the town once again, now to go to this ceremony / festival. You show up and you're greeted by another cutscene. This one goes on for a while. You see a bunch of people being sacrificed and pretty violent, kind of cool. Really, it's actually really, the art style in this game's great. Like, I'm faulting the game a lot for how long it takes to get going, in my opinion, but it is a really great looking game. You are shown your first talisman attachment maneuver, which you have to press the button for, so give them credit for slight interaction in the cutscene. And then you save your kid friend. Everyone's like, oh no, the ceremony's been ruined. And then you're like, hey man, I'm actually a cool techno cat and I'm gonna go into the machine and fight some stuff. And now you're in the labyrinth. You're in the Metroidvania labyrinth. You're given another brief kind of tutorial section where they show you the save points. They show you parrying system. You kind of have to parry and then like detonate the talisman that you attach to the person while you parry. It's an interesting system. It's kind of hard to master. I never really got the hang of it. You then learn how to heal via the pipe. Again, Souls-like kind of thing. You get health charges for this thing and you collect currency by killing people, save at these big like clone pineapple deals. I don't know what they are. It's like a big pineapple. So now we're at core gameplay. As you can see, we're in green. This is great, right? This is what we want. We want to be at core gameplay. It took us about 17 and a half minutes, but we are at the core gameplay of Nine Sols. 17 and a half minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but when you compare it to the 5 or so minutes before you get there in Hollow Knight, it feels like a long time. At 17 minutes into my Hollow Knight playthrough, I had already met this incredibly sad grub, which I immediately was so taken with and had to make him happy. I don't know how, but I just have to make this guy happy. Immediately the most sympathetic character I've ever met in a video game. I've met this cool map guy who's going to show me how to make maps. I've gotten a pen from the store that I bought with some currency I collected while killing some enemies. This pen lets me draw my map. I'm starting to build a map out. I found one of the grubs. Look at this guy. He looks like and kind of sounds like the sad guy that I met earlier. I gotta save this guy, but I can't reach him. Very sad. I've been able to do so much in Hollow Knight during the time in which Nine Sols is still kind of stringing me along and getting me to the game. Now you'll see here, there's another purple section. And this is bad. This game does what I think is kind of a cardinal sin of gaming, which is the first time you die, you get stuck in a tutorial world where they go, hey idiot, I noticed you died. Why don't we teach you how to play the game again? Because clearly you're not good enough at it. And when this happened, I was just out. I'm like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I don't want to train on some dickhead that's like, oh, you've learned the way of the parry, yada, yada, yada. I get it. It's a hard game, and it's kind of a weird mechanic, but just let me figure it out. Don't force me into a tutorial world where there's no stakes, where I feel like I'm just wasting time. This tutorial section takes a long time. It takes a few minutes, and you just want to get back into the game and try again. That's the beauty of Souls-likes, is you die and you go back stronger with more knowledge, able to beat the enemy that vanquished you before, because you get to go back. And he's going to do the same shit over and over again, and now you're better, faster, stronger. And that's what these games are all about. And this over-tutorialization totally kills that momentum, and it's a real bummer. I go back in and mess around after this section for a bit, but I'm a little deflated. I don't think the parry system's quite for me. This game is all built on the parrying mechanic. I think it even says something to that effect in the store page for it, which maybe I should have read. Hold on, let me pull that up real quick here. Yeah, Nine Souls of lore-rich, and it even says featuring Sekiro-inspired deflection-focused combat. I should have known then that this game wasn't for me, because I'm terrible at Sekiro, but I wanted to give it a chance. Again, just to throw it back, to compare to the last 8 or 9 minutes I played of Hollow Knight during the time I was being re-tutorialized in Nine Souls, I had found the first boss and killed him, and it was great. I was having a great time playing Hollow Knight. And then I met this creepy dude, and he gave me a superpower. I was able to play the game and explore and find stuff and become invested in what's going on in the game through my own natural exploration. There is a counter argument here that Hollow Knight doesn't tell you anything about its story. There's a story there, you just have to go find it and really go out of your way to find it. Kind of like your Dark Souls. Like, if you want the plot, you gotta work for it. So I can respect a game like Nine Souls for giving more exposition up front, giving you characters, giving you cutscenes, giving you a reason to want to care about the character you're playing. And that's, I think in a nutshell, kind of the difference between these two games. One kind of just sets you into the world to build your own meaning out of it, and one tries to give a lot of meaning up front, and in my opinion, fails. Now, you may be saying, you didn't finish the game, and you are correct. And so I might be totally wrong, but this is a comparison to the first 25 minutes. And in that case, I'm right. So leave a comment down below if you disagree with my analysis. And if you like Nine Souls, let me know, because maybe I really do need to go give it a better chance than I did. This kind of long intro, like this thing games do where they take a long time to start, it's a bit of a hobby horse of mine. And so I'm interested in doing this analysis on some other games. And I think it's more important as we move towards these kind of subscription models like Game Passes or Ubisoft Plus, or there's like a billion of them now. It's kind of annoying, but people need to be hooked by these games, because if they don't have a financial investment in them, you'll just stop playing it. I didn't spend any money on Nine Souls, and so when I wasn't hooked by the story or the gameplay, I just stopped playing it and uninstalled it, and I was fine. Like I didn't lose any money. I didn't lose any sleep over it. Gonna try to get videos out quicker than I did this one. Took me a while to come up with an idea, and then I had the holidays and all that. I was originally going to talk about BioShock during this video, because I think it has kind of the platonic ideal of a first mission. I guess it's 2 missions technically, but I think the way that game ropes you in, gets you to the gameplay pretty quickly, while still delivering so much exposition, is an expert. It's kind of a melding of these 2 examples, where Hollow Knight is all gameplay and Nine Souls is like all exposition. BioShock is a great like combination of those 2. But yeah, hopefully I'll put up some more out soon. Give us a like, give us a subscribe if you'd like to. And yeah, thank you for watching.